All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Wednesday, March 24th. I believe it is Breakfast Club Day, if you 80s kids get the reference. But anyway, my name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you really end up enjoying today's video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. I'd greatly appreciate it. With that, guys, we're going to dive into pretty extensive slate of NBA action. Let's go ahead and start with the Pistons taking on the Pacers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Indy. The Pacers are the 6-point favorite at home, totals 218.5. And if you like Detroit in an upset on the road here, they're plus 205 on the money line. And following a 4-1 day yesterday on my Patreon website, we also improved to 4-0 in our last 4 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon page. Now, if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. We also improved to 25-4 in our last 29 premium sports picks in that very same extra daily pick tier membership. And if you want to join the 1,400 members currently signed up and active on that page, link for that site is in the description section below. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, the Pistons have lost 7 out of their last 10 ball games. Bottom 3 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage. They're also in the bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage on the road. They've been victorious in just 5 out of 23 road games. And they currently find themselves 18 games below 500. Diallo's still out. Magruder's also sitting this one out tonight as well. Wayne Ellington's been listed as questionable for Detroit. They're taking on an Indiana squad who won 2 out of their last 3 themselves, and they rank in the top 10 in free throw percentage. And despite Malcolm Brogdon being listed as questionable here this evening, Domantas Sabonis is still scoring over 20 points a game along with 11 boards and 6 assists. Now, Indiana's in the top 10 defensively in first quarter points allowed at home. They're also in the top 5 in third quarter points allowed as well. Now, total-wise, Indiana did go 70% to the over in their last 10 outings, 26-16 to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Detroit saw a contest with Toronto and New York get over the posted total recently themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Indiana Pacers -6 in the over 218.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Celtics versus the Bucks, 7:30 Eastern start time. The Milwaukee Bucks are the 6-point favorite, totals 230 flat. Now, Giannis Antetokounmpo is questionable. Tucker and Forbes are also questionable for Milwaukee as well. And despite a red-hot streak over the past few weeks, the Bucks have actually failed to cover the point spread in 5 out of their last 8 ball games. Now, Milwaukee's in the bottom 10 in shooting from the stripe, dead last in the NBA defensively in third quarter points allowed. They're taking on a Boston team who has struggled as of late. I get that. I understand it. But they do still find themselves in the top 5 in the NBA in defensive rebounding, so that's one thing they can do right. Jason Tatum's also scoring over 24.5 points per contest, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for the starting forward. Meanwhile, Jaylen Brown is scoring over 24 points a game himself, 5 rebounds, 3 assists for Brown. The Celtics are in the top 10 in third quarter scoring, top 3 in second quarter points allowed on the road. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Boston's last 9 got over the line. Milwaukee's 14-8 to the over at the Fiserv Forum. I'm going to lean toward the Boston Celtics +6 in the over 230. Next matchup, it is going to be Nuggets versus the Raptors, 7:30 East. The Nuggets are the 2.5-point favorite on the road. Numbers 223 juice to the over. Tell you what, that point spread, that line stinks a little bit. And if you like the Raptors in an upset victory in Tampa, they're plus $1.15 for some money line cash. Now, the Raptors are on a 9-game losing streak, 3-6 against the number in those 9 losses. Toronto's won just 8 of 18 at the Amalie Arena, and they rank dead last in offensive rebounding. Now, in addition to being 9 games below 500 right now, the Raps are also in the bottom 10 in guarding the 3-ball. They're taking on a Denver Nuggets squad who drains nearly 40% of their 3-pointers on a consistent basis. The Nuggets have also won 8 out of their last 10. And they also have themselves a 636 win percentage when traveling. So like I said, that line kind of stinks a little bit here. Nikola Jokic is scoring over 27 points a game, 11 rebounds, 8 assists for the center. Meanwhile, Jamal Murray scoring over 21 a night himself, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for the starting point guard. Denver is in the top 5 in scoring, top 3 in offensive field goal percentage. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Denver's last 5 got over the line, 13-9 to the over away from their home court. Meanwhile, Toronto went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Denver Nuggets -2.5 and the over 233. Next ball game, we're going to take a look here at the Cavaliers versus the Bulls, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, the Chicago Bulls are the 6-point favorite at home. Numbers 215.5. Pretty big number for the Bulls here. Don't see them laying 6 points often. But despite being the significant favorite in this one, the Bulls have really struggled at the United Center this season. They won just 9 of 24 on their home court. And they successfully covered the point spread in just 37% of those contests. Now, Chicago is currently in the bottom 10 defensively in points allowed. They're also in the bottom 5 in defensive field goal percentage at home. And as bad as Cleveland's been this season, and believe me, they've been bad, Chicago only has 3 more wins than their counterparts here. So just keep that in mind. And of course, speaking of Cleveland, they've won 2 out of their last 4 themselves. And believe it or not, they're the league leaders defensively in fourth quarter points allowed on the road. Now, Colin Sexton is scoring 24 points a game, couple of boards and 4 assists for the starting point guard. Meanwhile, Darius Garland is scoring 16 a night himself, 2 rebounds, 5 assists for Garland. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Cleveland's last 5 straight all got over the posted total, 60% to the over in their last 10 with Chicago. Meanwhile, the Bulls saw a contest with Denver, Philly, and New Orleans get over the total recently themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Cleveland Cavaliers +6 and the over 215.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Mavericks versus the Timberwolves. And of course, that matchup there, that's going to be an 8 p.m. Eastern start time. Now, the Dallas Mavericks are -8.5, totals 231. Dallas won 7 out of their last 10 ball games, top 10 in the NBA in road scoring. Luka Doncic is scoring 29 points a game, 8 rebounds, 9 assists for the young phenom. Meanwhile, Kristaps Porzingis is dropping nearly 20 a game himself, along with 8 rebounds. The Mavericks are in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage on the road. They're also in the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage away from home as well. They're taking on a Minnesota squad who actually lost 7 out of their last 10. No real surprise there. And they currently find themselves 23 games below 500. They've been horrible at home this year, winning just 5 of 20 at the Target Center. Once again, no real surprise there. And they're also in the bottom 3 in points allowed, bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. The Timberwolves allow over 117 points per contest on average. And when it comes to the number in this one, Minnesota saw their last 2 straight stay under the line, 11-9 to the under on their home court. Meanwhile, Dallas went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves, 12-9 to the under as the official road team. I'm going to lean toward the Dallas Mavericks -8.5 and the under 231. Next contest, we're going to take a look at the Suns versus the Magic, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Phoenix Suns are -10, totals 215. Now, Phoenix has won their last 3 straight, 8-2 straight up in their last 10. The Suns are in the top 3 in points allowed, top 3 in defending the 3 ball. They're also allowing just 107 points per contest when they travel. Devin Booker scoring 25 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Meanwhile, Chris Paul's dropping over 15.5 points per contest himself, 4 rebounds, 8 assists for the multi-time All-Star. Phoenix is 14-5 straight up on the road this season, 74% against the number in those road games. They're taking on an Orlando squad who lost 11 out of their last dozen, and they currently find themselves 15 games below 500. Orlando's dead last in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage, bottom 3 in scoring. They've won just 9 of 23 at the Amway Center, and they average just 104 points a game. Now, Ross, Bamba, and Randall, they're all questionable for tonight's action. When it comes to the scoring in this one, Orlando saw 5 out of their last 9 ball games get over the posted total, throwing out the Denver contest. Meanwhile, Phoenix saw games with Minnesota, Indiana, Portland, and the Lakers all get over the number recently themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Phoenix Suns minus 10 and the over 215. Next matchup, it is going to be Grizzlies versus the Thunder, 8 p.m. East. Now the Memphis Grizzlies are minus 5, totals 219.5. Memphis has won their last 2 straight, 7-3 against the number in their last 10. Of course, good for 70% during that span. The Grizzlies rank in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 10 in road scoring. John Morant scoring 19 a game, 3 rebounds, 7.5 assists. Meanwhile, Jonas Valanciunas is scoring nearly 16 a night himself, along with a dozen rebounds. The Grizzlies are in the top 3 in defending the 3 ball on the road. They're also in the top 5 in road defensive rebounding. They're taking on an OKC squad who's won just 8 of 20 at the Chesapeake Energy Arena this season. The Thunder's also covered in just 40% of their home games. And another thing to add here, OKC's in the bottom 3 defensively in home points allowed. They're actually giving up 116 points a game at the Chesapeake. Now, total-wise, 5 out of OKC's last 9 contests got over the line, throwing out the Minnesota game. The Thunder's also gone 60% to the over on their home court. Meanwhile, Memphis on the other side of things, they are 9-7 to the over as the away team, 6-4 to the over in their last 10 meetings with OKC. I'm going to lean toward the Memphis Grizzlies minus 5 in the over 219.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Hornets versus the Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Now, the Hornets are minus 3 on the road here, totals 222.5. Charlotte's won 6 out of their last 10 ball games. Top 10 in the NBA here in shooting the 3 ball. Very good 3-point percentage. Now, Gordon Hayward is scoring 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for the starting forward. Meanwhile, Terry Rozier's dropping 20 a night himself. 3 rebounds, 3 assists for Rozier. Charlotte's in the top 5 in the NBA in fourth quarter scoring on the road. They're also taking on a Houston squad who, they finally broke their losing streak yesterday. Finally happened. That's going to put them at a very impressive 1-20 straight up in their last 21 ball games. Now, Eric Gordon's still out. Porter is questionable. The Rockets have won just 6 of 21 at home, and they successfully covered the number in only 19% of those contests. Now, the Rockets are last in the NBA in shooting the 3 ball. They're also dead last in home scoring. Now, total-wise, 3 out of the Rockets' last 4 did stay under the number, 16-5 to the under at the Toyota Center. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Charlotte saw 6 out of their last 7 stay under the total themselves. Give me the Charlotte Hornets minus 3 and the under 222.5. Next matchup, we're going to take a look here in the Western Conference. It is going to be Clippers versus the Spurs, 8:30 East. The Clippers are laying 6 on the road here, totals 220.5. Now, the LA Clippers are on a 2-game winning streak, 4-2 straight up in their last 6. And of course, despite the absence of Ibaka and Beverly here tonight, we're still looking at a Clippers squad who leads the NBA in shooting the 3 ball, very good 3-point percentage. They're also leading the league in free throw percentage as well. They simply don't miss from the stripe. Kawhi Leonard is scoring over 25.5 points per contest, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for the NBA champion. Meanwhile, Paul George is scoring 22.5 points per contest himself, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for George. The Clippers are in the top 3 in defensive rebounding, and they allow just 108 points per contest when they travel. Now, they're taking on a Spurs team who unfortunately has a losing record at home this year. Lonnie Walker's out tonight. Keita Bates-Diop is still out battling a hammy. And Rudy Gay, he's been listed as questionable for San Antonio. He's battling a foot injury. Now, the Spurs are in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. They're also letting their opponents make nearly 40% of their three-pointers at the AT&T Center. Now, when it comes to the number in this one, 2 out of San Antonio's last 3 got over the posted total. Clips are 25-19 to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Los Angeles Clippers, minus 6, and the over 220 and a hook. Next ball game, we're going to take a look here at the Hawks versus the Kings, 10 p.m. Eastern start. The Atlanta Hawks are -3 on the road. Totals 231 flat. Now, Atlanta's won 8 out of their last 9 ball games, 7-2 against the number during that stretch. The Hawks are in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 5 in defending the 3-ball. Trae Young is scoring nearly 26 points a night, 4 rebounds, 9 assists for the young guard. Meanwhile, John Collins is dropping over 18 a game himself, along with 7 rebounds. The Hawks are in the top 10 defensively in points allowed. They're taking on a Sacramento squad who won just 9 of 21 at the Golden One Center this season. And out of those 21 home games, the Kings actually successfully covered the point spread in just 7 of them. Now, Sacramento, they are currently dead last in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage. They also rank dead last in defending the 3-ball. They give up 121 points per contest on their home court, and they allow their opponents to make 40% of their three-pointers there. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Sacramento's last 2 straight got over the line. 15-6 of the over on their home court. No real surprise there. Meanwhile, Atlanta saw 4 out of their last 8 get over the total themselves. Give me the Atlanta Hawks -3 and the over 231. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup of the show. It is going to be Nets versus the Jazz, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Jazz are the 10-point favorite at home, numbers 230.5. But as good as Utah's been this season, they've actually really struggled to cover the point spread recently. Now, out of their last 10 ball games, they successfully covered the point spread just 3 times, and they actually find themselves in the bottom 10 in the NBA in first quarter scoring. Now, even worse than that, Utah is currently in the bottom 5 defensively in fourth quarter points allowed. So certainly keep those factors in mind if you're looking to lay double digits here with Utah. Now, they're taking on a Brooklyn squad who's won 8 out of their last 9, despite being really banged up roster-wise. Now, Irving and Durant still won't suit up here tonight, but regardless of that, we're still looking at a Brooklyn squad who's been able to win games without their big 3 completely intact. They've been winning games all year, and it's actually been very rare that all 3 of the big stars have been active in the same game. Now, James Harden scoring over 25 points a night, 8 rebounds, 11.5 assists for the All-Star. Meanwhile, Joe Harris scores almost 15 a game himself, along with 3.5 rebounds. Total-wise, Brooklyn's 15-6 of the over when they travel, 60% to the over in their last 10 with Utah. I'm going to lean toward the Brooklyn Nets +10 and the over 230.5. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like the Pacers -6 over 218.5. Boston +6 over 230. Denver Nuggets -2.5 over 223. Cleveland Cavaliers +6 over 215.5. Dallas Mavericks -8.5 under 231. Phoenix Suns -10 over 215. Memphis Grizzlies -5 over 219.5. Charlotte Hornets -3 under 222.5. LA Clippers -6 over 220 and a hook. Atlanta Hawks -3 over 231. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 4-0 at our last 4 extra daily pick tier package plays on my Patreon website. We're also 25-4 in our last 29 premium sports picks in that very same tier membership. I'm going to lean toward the Brooklyn Nets +10 and the over 230.5. And with that, guys, one final reminder that all the content on my YouTube channel is for entertainment purposes only. I don't make any guarantees of any kind. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into some YouTube shout-outs. Shout out to Keith Oliver, Daniel Robb, Stephen Quintanilla, SOP LFD Striker, Helen Kim, a.k.a. Mrs. Lee, and of course, got to give a shout-out to Brandon Lee, Ulysses Hayes, the U-Dog, Francisco Rocha, Isaiah Moore, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout-out to my good friend, Rowdy Ruckus. Now, Francisco Rocha, real quick, I told Cousin Thick the other day that, you thought she was pretty cute, and she immediately, without hesitation, said, tell him to send me money. I don't know, man. That's just the way it is. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up, and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.